Good morning, Evan. Welcome to lesson 2. So we're going to start on page 96, which is where we left off from our last photosynthesis. In this lesson, we're going to finish photosynthesis because a lot of the pages are just reading because it's general knowledge. The questions you'll be asked are more along the lines of what is a greenhouse effect and what type of investigation can you do. It's not going to ask a whole section on this. So I want you to read through pages 101 to the end of the section. Okay. But for now, on page 96, we're going to look at what happens after photosynthesis. So obviously we know the product of photosynthesis is glucose. So glucose is left over after photosynthesis in the chloroplast. Now, 3 things can be done with this glucose. It can be used in cellular respiration. It can be changed into other carbohydrates, which we will come back to now. And it can be made into organic substances in the chloroplast, such as proteins, liquid fats, vitamins, and chlorophyll. If we go back to glucose being changed into carbohydrates, surplus glucose is most likely to be changed into starch. This is because starch is not reactive nor soluble, and glucose is reactive and soluble. So it's best to store this energy as starch because it won't dissolve or react with anything. Glucose can also form sucrose, which is a disaccharide molecule. It's quite small and it is soluble and it is reactive like glucose. So it's not as different like glucose and starch. Glucose and sucrose are quite similar. This sucrose is carried throughout the plant via the phloem. Glucose, lastly, can also form a polysaccharide cellulose. Cellulose, C-E-L-L, cellulose, it forms the cells. You need cellulose to form cells. There's a diagram on page 97 that'll sum up the whole thing. I've also summed it up in your notes. So the importance of photosynthesis is it releases oxygen, it creates fiber for building materials, it's used during cellular respiration, it makes up a lot of our oxygen concentration in our air. That's also something that would be nice to have to add into questions or essays. So know your main points. In your notes, I have the main points down for you. So something extra. We have that without photosynthesis, there would be no oxygen on Earth. But at one point, Earth was like this. Earth had an anoxic atmosphere. This is without oxygen. The only organisms that were and are still able to thrive in an environment like this are chemosynthetic bacteria. That's a nice fact to know to add in when you want to make your question sound super cool and like you know a lot, because you do. So environmental factors affecting photosynthesis rate. So you have the effect of light intensity, carbon dioxide, and temperature. So this whole section, I've summarized it in your notes as well. The main point is, with more light intensity, more photosynthesis can take place. With more carbon dioxide, more photosynthesis can take place. And with a higher temperature, more photosynthesis can take place. There's quite a nice pattern. So the reason with light intensity, when it increases, so does photosynthesis, is because the biochemical reaction or dark reaction, we've done this in our previous lesson, is going as fast as it can. So it will increase, but as much as it increases, it also plateaus. So as you can see in your diagram on page 99, it'll go up, and then just a straight line. Because your dark reaction or your photochemical reaction, biochemical, it works to a point where it's working as hard as it can. So it stops when the temperature is too low for the enzymes, controlled chemical reactions, to go any faster. And there is not enough carbon dioxide, one of the raw materials. This will stop the process going any faster. So they're all connected. If there's not enough carbon dioxide and not enough temperature, the plateau will happen a long time before if there were those resources available. So same with carbon dioxide. Increased carbon dioxide means an increase in photosynthesis. So it's just with more of a material, with more of a resource, you can make more product. So with photosynthesis, it's exactly that. With more carbon dioxide, they have more resources to create more glucose. Then with temperature, an increase in temperature is an increase in photosynthesis, but this is controlled by enzymes. Increase in temperature speeds up enzyme activity and therefore the rate of photosynthesis. So increase in temperature creates an increase in enzyme activity, which creates an increase in photosynthesis. This increase in temperature can double the rate of photosynthesis. But photosynthesis can also have a maximum rate. If the temperature increases beyond this maximum rate, photosynthesis will now slow down very quickly because the enzymes denature. So when enzymes denature, it means they no longer work. They no longer are given the environment that is suitable for them to do their job. So imagine factory workers. They work really well in cooler temperatures if it's working with all the machines, safe environment, they've got the proper clothes on. Now you send them to work in normal business clothes, they don't have any safety equipment, and the whole factory is on the highest temperature you can put it on. They will denature like enzymes would. They will stop working properly. So they'll stop working. So enzymes denaturing at a certain temperature means that photosynthesis can stop altogether, but it will first drop. So then, I hope that makes sense. So that's your effect of temperature, carbon dioxide, and light intensity on photosynthesis. So then you need to read through your greenhouse systems and crop improvements. It's mentioned in biology throughout the years, grade 10, 11, and when you get to grade 12, there'll be another section with similar stuff. It's more of it can be connected to the last sections in your book, but it's more of an overall view of this topic. So how crop yield is increased, and this will go with what we've just done. Crop yield increased. How do we get that? We need more photosynthesis, more food to be made, more plants to grow. This is done with carbon dioxide, light, and temperature. So you need an optimum level of all of these to get the most out of your crop. How does greenhouse technology impact the human impact on the environment? So how does greenhouse technology lessen the human impact on the environment? So if you are making the optimal environment for a plant, you are decreasing degradation of wetlands because we don't need them. You are making a healthy ecosystem because you are making a healthy crop organically, not with chemicals. There's less pollution because you're using less insecticides and fertilizers, pesticides as well. There will be less water wastage because you're using the optimum amount of water. They'll use all of it. No wastage. And you'll need less cold storage for seasonal fruits and vegetables since they can be grown throughout the year, because this little box is making it as if it is like summer for summer fruits, or it is like winter for winter fruits. So the role of ATP as an important energy carrier. ATP, we touched on that in our previous lesson. I would like you to read through that, as well as investigations. The investigations are just nice to have for you to visualize. Then we have activities for you. So I'm going to give you this. It sounds like a lot, but for your next lesson, there won't be any activities. So this is for the week, okay? So learning activity 2 on page 96. Learning activity 5 on page 101. And then try activity 10 on page 113. Please, we can email through that one if you want, or you can leave it to do it during our Skype session if it is a bit difficult. And then please do the revision on page 115, which means our section is done. And next lesson we can start with animal nutrition, which will be a nice, easy, just little bit explaining it so we can get into our animal nutrition nice and slowly and calmly. So you must you must email me if you need any help, especially with activity 10. I will try find videos for you to go along with mine. Remember, with every video, you need to read through the pages as well to make sense of the video, to make sense of the notes, as well as get all the more general knowledge information that you need. So have a wonderful day. Work hard. Please email me if you need help. I will always be happy to help, and have an amazing day further. Thank you.